Dr. Chuck, the science schmuck.
Synchronize. Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me or aren't familiar with me, my name is Dr. Chuck, the science schmuck, and I had a revelation. I have a lot of revelations. It's what I do. I sit around and think a lot. It's like my main hobby, other than making this YouTube channel. Uh, I was talking to someone, and I realized that one of the dominant things that seems to make, I thought Let's Plays were the biggest thing on YouTube, but apparently makeup is utterly massive. Cosmetics is a huge part of the structure of YouTube. Apparently that's huge. So I was talking and I realized that I never really understood how important makeup is to a lot of people. How, really common it is that people buy a lot of it. Also, I never understood how expensive it is, which got me thinking. Now, as a schmuck, I don't know the first thing about makeup, obviously, but I do know chemistry. Pretty well, actually. So I figured, why can't I make makeup myself out of ordinary household materials that I can just, find? And you see it at the store, and I don't even know how much it is, more than I make. It's like, oh, look at all this. Look, it's in a pretty box. It's vegan. It's all these colors. What if I could make it? What if I could manufacture it from stuff that's almost free? You say, well, is that even possible? I say, I have no idea. No. That's the point of science. It's to figure out if this stuff is doable. So it got me thinking, and I think this will probably be an ongoing series, but I'm going to start with the easiest thing first. I'm going to try to make, what's that stuff that goes in your eyes? Eyeshadow? I don't know. I don't interact with people. I interact with machines and basements, which is where I am right now. It looks like a bunker, but it is in fact a basement. Eyeshadow. Black. I looked up the history of it, and we think of cosmetics as these modern things that have been produced by factories and engineered from synthetic compounds, but in fact, cosmetics have existed since almost the dawn of human history. Specifically, I was looking up kohl, K-O-H-L, which is a black stuff used in the Middle East to go usually under the eyes. It's made of lead sulfide, which sounds bad, but it's pretty common and it doesn't seem to be especially toxic. I don't have access to that much lead. There's a lead shortage going on right now. So I figured, why don't I use this stuff? You're looking at that stuff and, well, what is it? That is charcoal. If you're familiar with the channel, it's a byproduct of the manufacture of lye, which I have a previous video on making my own homemade corrosives, which have proved invaluable for removing grease from various things. Charcoal is wood that has burned in the absence of oxygen, which you can't burn in the absence of oxygen, so it pyrolyzes. Meaning that, now I have another video about pyrolysis. Did I ever publish that one? Oh, yeah. Pyrolyzed cube. Pretty much all the oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen leaves as gases, leaving behind a carbon matrix. Carbon is black in color usually. Diamonds are transparent, they're made of carbon too, although if you grind up diamonds, yes, you can grind up diamonds, they turn into a black powder. It's the weirdest thing, but I'm not about to show you that because I don't have diamonds just sitting around that you know of. So I took this stuff out of, my ash bins. I have a lot of wood ash that I use to make corrosives, and washed it off because remember the ash is corrosive, so you do need to remove it, and dried it in the oven. Now, this is the important part. Do not try to put this in the microwave. I made that mistake. Charcoal is conductive, so when you turn it on the microwave roughly goes and then sparks fly everywhere. Then the carbon ignites and it's just boom. So fortunately I didn't die. Excuse me while I drink this foul yellow liquid. I'm not used to talking quite this much, but I am having a blast. So I dried it in the oven. So now I have a mortar and pestle full of these, nice dry carbon pellets. And I'm going to grind them up. Probably don't want to breathe that. Also, I don't want it in my eyes. Now, the resulting substance should be primarily very dark carbon. This is actually somewhat environmentally friendly. I'm not producing carbon specifically for this. It's a form of recycling. Remember, this came out of an old wood fire. It's a waste product that I would normally dump into the garden, which you do have to be careful of if you're actually dumping ash in the garden. Made that mistake too. You have to add peat moss, not the most environmentally friendly substance, but you need a source of acid, or else it'll get too alkaline. Especially if you're growing any acid-favoring plants, hydrangeas, blueberries, those really love acid. You won't get proper growth unless the soil is acidic. Rhododendrons, likewise. Okay. Ironic that I say I don't want to get this in my eyes, but that's exactly where it's going. So the resulting substance is this very sort of shiny black powder. It doesn't have a smell, but it makes you cough. I probably shouldn't be breathing that, although I used to work with carbon fiber before I went into science, and my lungs are basically bulletproof from the fiber of Kevlar and carbon fiber that's now inside them. So I'm pretty much done. Now, I don't know the first thing about applying makeup. I've never applied makeup before. As you can see, I'm kind of a semi-manly dude. I don't think I'm... it's best to think of me as a genderless android, but I've never used makeup before because I don't exist in a position where people need to see me. So you're probably going to laugh because this is going to be dumb. But there's two things I want to cover, two basic ideas. The first is carbon itself is a hydrophobic material. Human skin is kind of either or. It's hydrophilic, but it's also hydrophobic. We secrete grease. Technically speaking, human grease is really wax. We release a kind of wax. Yeah, it's more favorable to say we release wax than grease, but we release a wax, which over time covers your skin and makes it itself hydrophobic. That's why super duper greasy people like me, if I don't bathe twice a day, repel water. It's like water off a duck's back. Carbon should stick to that without any other alterations. Just pure carbon. I got a mirror, so this is ridiculous, but these are the things I do because I'm bored as, you know, a pile of nuts. So I got this stuff. Oh, that's gross. I have no idea how eyeshadow is actually applied. Well, I look like a Fallout character. Or some sort of raccoon. Who knows? Not good. I mean, I guess theoretically it works. Maybe a chimney sweep? I don't know. I mean, the eyeshadow part where eyeshadow's supposed to go looks pretty okay, I guess, in terms of blackness. The rest, not so good. I don't think eyeshadow normally goes down here or like on your nose or out here. Generally speaking, my idea for makeup is to eventually create a system of colors so that I can draw eye spots on my forehead to distract from surveillance cameras because they focus on your eyes to figure out who you are. If you have eye spots on your head, it confuses them. But it does establish the idea that basically it makes you look like a raccoon. It could have an application. But I want to try to move it a little more forward than that. So, there's the substance we have. And this tiny cup is actually a thimble. Yes, I own a thimble. How strange to say that. Very few people own a thimble. And it's filled with canola oil. Canola oil is itself a hydrophobic substance, which should be capable of mixing with this and producing a paste. The resulting substance will be more oily and vegan. I mean, I've been told that that's a very important part of makeup to people. I myself am not terribly vegan, but I don't want to argue that point to people who may be vegan, because they wouldn't agree with what I have to say, and that well, I'm going to say it anyway. I tend to think of plants as being a higher organism than animals, so I don't like heterotrophs that much. I mean, autotrophs are much superior. They can generate their own food. I don't see too much difference between killing a cow and killing a cabbage, especially since the cabbage is a superior form of life. So now I have a black liquid. That may be, that's why I have two eyes. I'm going to try to, wrong, that's not helpful. That's the wrong one. Oh, it kind of burns. It's not the worst burn in the world. If anything, that has disimproved the response. It's worse than it was. You know, I should really get someone who knows how to do makeup to do this, because frankly, I can't figure it out. I look like a raccoon. But then again, so do, don't say that one. Oop, I almost made a mistake, because some people actually wear makeup. Most people wear it well. I'm a dude who lives in a basement. I don't know how to wear makeup. But it is funny, isn't it? Could be done better, but I think generally in practice, the carbon charcoal does produce in this eye kind of a it does produce an effect. It's there. I made it work. This one's darker, also looks greasier. I'd say it's a success. Seems to have worked well. Hooray for me! I've produced, I think in the hands of a competent person, this could be a useful product. It's made of charcoal and carbon, so it's organic. It came from a tree that grew out in nature somewhere. It's recycled. It's vegan. It's non-toxic. It hopefully washes off. It seems fine to me. So, I chalk that up to a win in my column. So, thank you for watching. You'll probably get an extra. They're written in a language that most people can't read. So, if you're not familiar with that, that's what you can expect in right about now.